You're listening to the Journey to Launch podcast, a real conversation with my real sisters, helping them achieve their goals of financial freedom and wealth. All right, welcome to a very special episode of the Journey to Launch podcast. I'm going to be interviewing my sisters, and we're going to be talking about all the things. I want to dive into their professional and personal development stories, their investing and saving stories, and just chat a bit. So I'm really excited to get this started. All right. So welcome guys to the podcast. I know. Okay. So first of all, don't be nervous. I'm going to introduce you guys first to everyone. And by the way, we are also recording this for the first time that I've done this as a video podcast. So I think that's kind of exciting. So you can also head to my YouTube channel to watch this full video. But first I want to introduce my little sisters, one being Shaina McGregor. Shaina, welcome to the Journey to Launch podcast. Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Jamila. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Shaina. I'm Jamila's younger sister. You probably heard her mention me a lot of times. I work with Journey to Launch on the social media and community manager for the Money Launch Club. I'm also a professional dancer, fitness instructor, and life coach. I just became an entrepreneur, started my own coaching business, and Jamila's teaching me so much about entrepreneurship. So I'm so excited to work under her this past year.
Yes, and you've also been on the podcast before.
I have.
Yeah, so I forgot what episode, but you did the roundtable discussion for Terry's course, the trade and travel course, because you took it. Yes. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So we'll link back to that episode. And then next up, we have my other little sister, Imani. Imani, hi. Welcome to the Journey to Launch podcast. Now, I will say this is your first time doing a podcast interview, being on video. So just tell a little bit about yourself and don't be nervous.
My name is Imani Shaina. I'm into cooking. Oh man, I'm nervous.
It's okay.
I gotta get this out. So I used to work in the city. Since the whole Corona stuff, I started doing cooking from home stuff. I'm still nervous.
It's all right. It's just us. It's just me. It's just us. No one else. Don't worry about whoever's listening or watching. It's just us talking. No, but okay, so we'll get back to Imani, but what Imani does now is cooking. And as you heard before, she alluded to coronavirus, the pandemic really impacted her work because you're working in the kitchen at it was like a cheese place, right?
Murray's cheese place.
Right. And so then you had to pivot once everything shut down and you started to cook basically your own food, and now you're working on that. So one of the things I want to both talk to you about, because what I thought was really cool about just you two being my sisters and then me having Journey to Launch, right? Like I'm all about living your passion and like really enjoying this journey, this life journey. And of course we need money to fuel that. So I feel like the both of you are creatives in a way. You're entrepreneurs. You don't have like typical jobs and you're still trying to find your way, trying to make enough money so that you can live out your dreams. And so I'm going to start with you, Shaina. How's it been for you? Because as a dancer, like you went to school, you majored in dance. So you could tell a little bit about that, like part of your dance career, and then your dreams of being like a full-time dancer, and then kind of like how it's evolved now to what you're doing.
Yeah, I feel like COVID has been life-changing for me. I was actually thinking about that this morning, that in actuality, COVID changed a lot, but almost for the better. So I grew up dancing. I went to high school for dance. I also majored in Fordham University at the Alvin Ailey School as well for dance, Ailey Fordham. And that was about 4 years of my life. And I had a path that I thought I was going to take. I was going to graduate, dance in a professional company, and that was going to be it. And in my senior year of college, things changed. I didn't get my dream job, and I was forced to really reckon with what that means and also jump into more of a freelance dance career, which opened up space for me to do so much more. So it was actually a blessing in disguise. And also, in that time, I found fitness. So fitness is such a great complement to a dance career because we're working our bodies. And the reason I get into dance is because I love it and I love to inspire others. And that's the same thing with fitness. So in this last year with COVID, as you can imagine, there was no dance.
Right.
Everything went virtual. We were dancing on Zoom, and if academic Zoom classes is one thing, but dance Zoom is a whole nother. And being in New York City, my apartment wasn't that great for dance. So I had to take a step back. I got still, which was the first time that I've ever did
Maybe,
less.
Like you stayed in one place. Like you couldn't travel. You couldn't go anywhere.
I couldn't travel. Also got still in what I was doing. I was so used to being so busy every day, running through the streets of New York, going from dance class to teaching fitness, and then everything shifted. So it made me do a lot of introspection. And that's also why I had more time to take Terry's trade and travel course. And also I wasn't teaching Zoom fitness classes either. A lot of people transitioned and immediately started teaching at home. And I realized I actually didn't want to do that. So I took some time for myself. And in that period, I found coaching. And I've always been that person who loves to be there for my friends, who loves to give support and give advice. But I realized that I had more to say and more to share within that space. So I found coaching, and now this is what I'm doing alongside dance and fitness.
When you say coaching, can you elaborate a bit more?
Yeah, so when I say coaching, I mean life coaching. And I feel like that in itself is so broad. But in general, life coaching is helping people achieve their goals. So it's helping to really bridge that gap between people's inner passions and purpose with their outer goals to create sustainable results. Because I believe we can all do it on our own. The difference with coaching is that I help you find the answers that are already within you, as opposed to mentorship or consulting. But it's supporting you with that, because so many of us, we have these goals, we have these dreams, but it's getting support on how to get there. And also having someone help us with all the fluff, with all the things that might take longer. Instead of maybe you taking 10 years to get through your own stuff, I can help you get there faster.
Yeah. So just one more follow-up question, because when you were talking about dancing, and because I didn't understand this obviously until you were entering into the profession of dancing, that you were talking more about dancing like on in a company, right? That's what you wanted to do as a dancer.
Right.
And then that obviously, because of the pandemic, especially when you graduated, it just didn't work out that way. So I think this idea of pivoting is important. And like, I think the potential of money in the dance world is really interesting when I hear you talk about like how little dancers get paid, even fitness instructors, and then how competitive it is. And so I'm really happy that you found another lane, and this lane definitely seems to complement already. Like what I see running as a thread between what you enjoy is motivation and inspiration. And so you use your body for that a lot with like dancing and fitness, but now you're also helping like internally, like help people. I think it aligns perfectly.
Right. And to use my voice. And I think for so long I would defend that I'm still a dancer, because it feels like when you add all these extra things, people are like, oh, she's not dancing anymore. But I think I also want to show people that you can do everything. You can do all three. And a lot of times when I say dance, I told you I'm a dancer, and you think one specific thing. You might think music video, you might think award show, but there are dancers who are dancing on concert stages, and that's what I wanted to do. But even now for myself, I'm like, I want to do that too. I want to be on award
Beyonce
shows.
stage. Well, I was telling you. I remember I used to tell you, like, why don't you like go audition for like the Beyonce and Rihanna like shows, so that way I can get tickets to come see it. But like, it's so many facets and different lanes for dancing. So I think, okay, so we'll get back there. And I do want to touch into the investing part of yourself, because there's that external investing that I talked to both of you about that you finally started to do. So proud of both of you. And then also the internal, like what you did to like get your life coaching certificate and all the other things. So we'll get to that. We're going to head over to Imani now. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. One of the things I want to say is that, you know, for you, I'm really proud of you. Okay. So, we are all sisters, right? But like Imani and I have the same father, and Shaina and I have the same mother. So that's kind of like, you know, and for all my Caribbean people who know how that goes, or just people in general who have like these family dynamics where it's a lot of us and people, whatever. One of the things that happened for you is you were raised in Jamaica for the most part. Yeah. That's where you were born and raised. You remember like me coming to visit Jamaica. And
yeah, we thought you was the coolest ever.
Still am, guys. But and we have a lot of siblings. So Shaina is my only sibling from my mom, and then my dad. We have, how many of us are there?
I think it's 7 of us.
7 altogether. Yeah. So we have 5 of us, 4 other sisters, and 2 other brothers. So it's 8 altogether. I don't even know. We lost count, but we love them very much. And so you actually had to like, you came to, you know, the States after a while. How old were you? Do you remember when you permanently came here?
I think probably like 21.
Right. 21, you permanently finally came here. And then you had to figure out what you were going to do. But you always had a love for cooking. So I kind of want to go back there. Like, how did you figure out what you wanted to do when you first came here?
I mean, I really didn't have a choice, you know. When I got here, was a little bit harder than I thought it was gonna be. So I literally had to put on my big boy pants and step out there. I mean, I had days when I had to write down like the address of the train station on a piece of paper, put it in my pocket.
Because you weren't used to it, right? The
No, I
trains
used
and
to
the
get
city.
lost all over the town. I applied for Job Corps from Jamaica, and then within like 2 weeks after I came over here, they accepted me. I went there. I mean, just doing like the little courses and stuff. I said to myself, you know, I just got to do what I got to do. After that, I left with my certificate, and I was like,
In cooking?
yeah.
Okay.
I had to get certified over here in order to like get a job.
In the kitchen?
Yeah.
That was your next
Yeah,
move.
just
Okay.
to get a job. I only did it just to get a job. And then my first job was working at Shake Shack in Grand Central.
I remember that. I came by for some
Yeah, that opened my eyes on, this is not it. So after like a year of working at Shake Shack, start like applying for other jobs. And then I got hired working for fathers and like monsignors. Like me growing up in Jamaica, always watching the TV, seeing the Pope and stuff like that. I was excited. So
explain what that is, because for someone who doesn't know, that's like an extension of the Catholic Church?
yes, it's
Okay.
like an extension of the Catholic Church. So anytime the Pope would come to New York, we would cook for him.
You were cooking for the
Yes,
Pope.
yes,
Imagine that.
So after that, I was like, wow, like, I mean, I probably could go a little bit higher. And then from there, I were working at the Edition Hotel in Times Square. Worked there for like a couple of weeks, and I was like, I don't really like a controlled cooking environment. I like where, you know, you get to be free with whatever you're doing with cooking. Because I look at cooking like art. Like, I don't want it to be, should be just like as you go, like just let it out. So that I was like, I don't want to work here. Then I started working at Murray's, where it was a bit more a creative environment. So I was like, all right, I'm getting back into it. I'm getting a little bit happier. Then boom, the Corona hit. And I was like, what do I do? Do I stay home and not do nothing and lose hope? I was like, no. I've been wanting to start doing my own cooking stuff, but I didn't have the courage to like step out there. So I was at the point where my back was against the wall. Like, do you like give up or do you try? I stepped out on a leap of faith, and from there, you know, people start catching on. So I was just like, hey, I'm gonna just put my 100% into this and start cooking from home, and it's been going good.
Yeah.
Been going good, and thanks to even social media, Instagram, I've got a lot of people ordering from me that I've never met before in person. So, you know, that's good. So
Yeah.
it encouraged me to like keep going and keep it up. So I guess that's good.
No, it is good.
Amazing.
It's first of all, it's amazing, and I always say, because you know, you called me the times where you're like, I don't know if I can stay at this job. You didn't like the hierarchy of the kitchen. Like, I didn't know it was that difficult in the back end of kitchens, and like you have all these like it's the lion chef, you know, the terms.
Yeah, it's very like a controlled environment, which I'm not knocking anybody. If you could do it, that's on you. But for like me, I'm more like a free spirit creative cooker. Yeah, like I like to, when I go on, my ideas just popping from left to right. So when I have somebody controlling me, it's like I feel like I'm not even doing what I actually like to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like to work in set controlled kitchen. I don't like it.
Right. Okay.
Creatives are also similar.
Yeah, and you're like that too, right?
I feel like creatives, we want freedom.
Yes, like
we want freedom.
I feel like the more freedom I get is the better finished product you're gonna get out of me. Just give me an area to work and tell me what you're looking for, and I promise you're gonna like what you get.
And I imagine like a lot of people are like this, even if you don't necessarily identify as a creative, even if you work in a job, like, you know, in a corporate environment, like people like autonomy, people like being able to control what they do. No one wants someone like down their back telling them everything to do.
Yeah.
Right. Or they're not used to having the freedom, so they think that they like control. But I feel like all parts of us want that freedom. It's just, have you been able to experience that yet?
Right. All right. So one of the things that I love, so here's the thing. I find that you have found what you love doing. So you love cooking, and now you're making, you know, you're starting your career for yourself in that. You love dance, fitness, and now coaching, life coaching, which all kind of meant together, and you're finding your way through that. And some people are just looking to find what they love to do.
Right.
Now, the next part of that is making enough money to sustain yourself and to create the lifestyles you want. So I always say, like, Shaina, you're my fancy, like, sister. She likes the high, like, I'm simple. Like, I will, she has to get her nails done. Like, she is definitely more high maintenance than even, like, I was at her age. So you want to talk about how old you are, or you want to, like, keep that?
No, that's fine. 24, turning 25 in August.
Right. And so even like but you were always this way, like always just like to dress up. You'd always go shopping. And so you have that kind of like pull in you now. Like you're like, you know, I'm going here for my birthday. I'm doing this. I'm like, really? Like I'll come over to mom's house and she like orders breakfast. I'm like, you couldn't make the eggs yourself? Like, I don't understand why you spending $20.
Once a week. It's a treat.
I don't understand why you spend $20 on eggs. But you know, she's more of a fancy kind of girl. I get it. That's fine.
Abundance mindset.
She has, right. So I just
back to me.
I just need you now to earn enough money to sustain yourself. I know the life you want to live and that you deserve.
Absolutely. Right.
So
it's a balance.
It is a balance. But I find that when you tell me stuff about like the creative world and even some of the things that you do and how little you get paid, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So one of the things you did start doing this past year was helping with Journey to Launch, which you will be moving on with like soon, right? Like, so she's helping with Journey to Launch now, but I know she wants to move on. So we're kind of transitioning her out of that. But for you, talk about money. Talk about earning money and managing it, and then all the things you want to do in the now. Because you know that I'm on both of you about investing and saving.
Yes.
And they look at me like, all right. Right. But how is it now, like earning enough that you want to live, but then how's that change, like working with me and like kind of taking my advice more about what you want to do?
Right. You know, as a creative, especially growing up in the dance field, we grew up with this starving artist mentality that you do your art, but you don't expect a lot of money. And I feel like even in this past year, I've been having conversations with so many dancers, and we're shifting that perspective. Because why shouldn't we get paid the same? Why shouldn't we get paid more and raise the floor? And I think that starts with talking to all artists, because once we all demand more, then people can't give us less. The reason that they're able to give us less is because we all want an opportunity. So you have someone who will take the work for free. And now we're like, none of us should take that work for free. And even my coach Glow, she says like, we use our money so that we're able to create, so that get money so that you're able to have the freedom to create.
And give more back.
Right. It's hard to be creative when you're broke. And when she said that, it was hard because I feel like we all grew up like, oh, we're all broke. So we all are still able to create. And now I stopped telling myself that I'm broke. Even if I'm broke, I've just changed the narrative. And yes, even though I love to splurge and I love luxury, I still have a discipline. Like even last week, I had 4 no spend days because I know I have things that I'm working towards. And my relationship with money has definitely changed. I feel like in this past year, I've really started listening to you, which I've always been good with money. We grew up on, like with our mom and our grandmother, on saving was huge. Yeah. So even from I was in high school, I had a ATM in my room. I would save my entire allowance and then I would spend it on something later that was meaningful. So I've always had that savings bug. I believe we got my first debit card from like 16. So I was always able to use money. As soon as I was able to get a credit card, mom got me a credit card. So even from early in college. So I've been good with money, but I used to keep it all in my head. Yeah. And I felt like budgeting felt limiting until I realized that it actually just allows me to see where my money's going. So in 2021, I finally did your budget boot camp. I think Jamila's budget boot camp is amazing. I've tried Mint. I've tried all these different apps, but I've used the budget boot camp in January in 2021. And I feel like I've finally been able to see where my money's going, see how much is coming in, because I knew I wasn't making a lot, but I also didn't know where it was going. So now I finally have an idea of when they say like, give every dollar a job, where the money's going. I'm able to actually look forward to maxing out my Roth. I maxed it out for the first time last year. But this year I know, okay, $500 a month gives me that $6,000. If I'm not able to do that every month and have an idea, okay, well, the next month I need to make up. I'm actually saving. I opened up my first high yield savings account this year and investing. So maxing out my Roth. I'm doing Terry's Trade and Travel program. So I finally am able to see where I feel like money's a tool. And instead of feeling like money's negative, money's a tool to give me the life that I desire, and it will flow in and out. Granted, I don't want to just spend it all, but there's a balance because I feel like we grew up with such a scarcity mindset of being cheap, of holding back, of not having a lot. Even with my nails, honestly, in this last year, I realized I was like, my mom, my sister are different than me. They have a different relationship to luxury. Don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad.
Just because you like to do those things.
Right. So why am I feeling bad about it? I should do it. Now, should I spend my last 100 on nails? No. But can I make a line item in my budget for nails? Yes.
Yes. Good for you, Shaina. I'm proud of you with that too, because I know like how, again, like apart from just like you guys are actually like my sisters. I want you guys to live the lives that you want. And I know the type of life you want. So it's like, I want you to live it now, but also set yourself up for a great future. And for those of you who made, because you said Roth. So Roth IRA is an after-tax investment account. And because you two are both creatives, I wanted you to open one as soon as possible. And you're both young. So you're about to turn 25 in August. You are
30.
I can't believe this. Crazy.
Yeah, because we're not getting 401ks.
Right. Well, no, not right. And so you have to, and this is the thing about people who are entrepreneurs and creatives or kind of in the freelance world, that you have to set yourself up. You got to do it for yourself because you don't have a company necessarily doing this for you. So you are that. And so I remember talking to you both, like if you do it now, like, you start out early, you know how much money you'll have, even if you just like, forget about my crazy talk about retiring early, like my financial independence early stuff, which I still think is feasible for both of you. But even just like when you're 65, because I'm now coming to you, Imani, like if you do this and just don't touch it, imagine having $1 million at 65, putting this in, how that feels. And you still are living your life now and doing what you want. So with that, we heard about Shaina and what she was able to do, and we'll get back to a little bit of that. But I want to talk a little bit about your saving and investing journey, because you did this recently too for yourself. So talk about that.
And this was a hard one because you've been telling me about this for like, 5-6 years?
Yes.
I've always been a mental saver. Like I want to see my money like right here. And I've been realizing over the year, like even coming here, that is not about cash. Like you have to do like, even with like credit and all of that stuff. I'm recently starting to really understand how important like credit is and like investing and stuff like that. So when you told me about the Vanguard stuff, I was like,
Yep, I told them to both open up their Roth IRAs with Vanguard. They're not sponsoring this, even though they should, because I thought that's where I used to invest, and I thought it was like the easiest thing. Okay, so you open it up,
and I was a little bit like skeptical, but I'm like, all right, might as well. I mean, I'm putting my money in the bank account anyway, and it's not growing.
Right.
So when you told me about it, I signed up. I wasn't checking it. I don't check it every day. I remember one day I was just like, I ain't check it in a minute. And I looked, it was like $1,000 extra on my money. And I was like, so this actually works. And I remember I called you, I was so excited. So from that day forward, I've been like more into it. Like I've put more time into it. And I'm still trying to figure out how to really go about it. Because unlike Shaina, I haven't maxed out my account yet.
Right. Last year was the first year I did it. And it's such a good feeling. Because before, I didn't think it was possible. I'm like, Jamila, I don't even make that much. You want me to save $6,000?
When I put half of it in there, I didn't think it was possible. So I'm like, psh.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. So you opened it up. I remember you called. I even put it on I remember sharing it. I was so happy. I shared it on my Journey to Launch Instagram stories, because I was like, finally, because it is scary. Like when you are telling someone, like obviously I talk about this all the time. I encourage people to invest and to try it, but I know it's easier to say it than to actually do it. And I know there are like people listening who they know that's something they should do. They just have not done it yet. And sometimes everyone doesn't have the luxury of having like me as the actual sister who's like on them as much, because like, you came to my house. I remember that you opened it at my house. You came over to my house for that specific reason. And I was like, okay, we're going to open it together. And the thing about this, because this happened to you and mom when I helped you, is that when you open up your investment account, so let's say you do open up a Roth IRA wherever you choose to, you open it up. That's step one. Now you have to fund the money. So even if you fund the money, it typically sits in a money market account. It's not actually invested. So I remember, didn't you find out like a couple months later that the money was not invested?
Put the money in the Roth, but I didn't realize I had to invest it in something.
That you had to buy buy the index funds that you currently are using. And so with you, it was the same thing. I remember that like, there's a multi-step thing. And so you like, I remember we got on the phone like a couple weeks later. I was like, all right, now the money's funded. Let's invest it. And we did that on the phone. But again, not everyone has that kind of like person to help them walk them through this. So I'm sharing this to hope give someone motivation that if they know
not even to cut you, I think that was my biggest reason why, I wanted to invest, but 2, it was like watching the whole journey to launch. And I'm like, this real? Is my sister. Right. Why am I not taking, hold up. No. All right, Jamila, I'm coming over. And anybody ain't had that access. So I was like, I have to double up on that. And it's been good.
And you saw like that it works in real time.
It does.
And I did say, like, listen, it could also swing the other way, okay? Right? But this is not money that you need right now. And you talked about saving. So, putting your money in a saving account actually loses money over time because of inflation. Like, especially a regular savings account earning 0.01%. That's not really earning you much. But then the next thing that Shaina did, which would be the next thing that we're going to get you to do, is open up a high yield account. So the money that you don't need right now, it can earn more money sitting in a savings account. So you're not going to invest it, but it gives you a higher return, even though rates are kind of lower than it was a couple of years ago. But back to investing, because this is huge. Like, and because of your ages, I'm just like, listen, if you just, and I know it's coming from a privileged position when I say just. Because you just heard, like, you guys don't earn that much right now. So when I tell you to put $500 in, you're like, that's my paycheck sometimes for the whole month. Are you kidding me, Jamila? And like, okay, you don't have to max it out. Even $100. Let's get that muscle going. Let's start doing it.
Right.
So what I would love is that you do max it out, just going forward, put it on autopilot. But I understand that sometimes you can't do that. Yeah. But one of the things struck me about you, Imani, like what helped you get over that fear? Because maybe that could help someone else right now thinking about doing this.
To be honest, it was something deeper than everything. I mean, from lost my mom, it's just been like everything was like, what's the worst could happen? And I guess it's been working for me, to be honest. Like every time I've been scared to do something, it's been like, what's the worst that could happen? And it's been paying off. So I guess that's what made me more leap towards doing it. And I'm like, you teaching everybody how to save and stuff, and it's going on good. I'm like, why not use that information to help myself? And that's why I went forward with it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What about you? What made you finally say, I'm gonna,
Right. I mean, I have big dreams. I have big goals. And I'll say it right now, I do want to be a millionaire by 30. So I think that takes a different mindset and a shift. And I want creatives to make money. I want to show us that we can follow our passions and be wealthy. And I think that first shift was I wasn't meeting my goals. I have these big dreams, but I wasn't able to max out my Roth. I wasn't saving a lot. And to be honest, I do have favorable conditions where I should be. And since I wasn't, I knew that something had to shift.
What do you mean by favorable conditions?
Well, I grew up in New York. I do still live at home, and that saves a lot of money, especially with COVID, staying at home. So I'm realizing I don't have as many responsibilities. I'm not making a lot, yes, but I still don't have as many responsibilities. So why am I not meeting my goals? And that shift was, okay, I need to get serious about having a budget so I could just see where my money is going. Now I'm able to see, I do have money left over. But before I think we have this phrase like, I deserve it. So I was going out like every night. Yourself. Yeah, treat yourself. I deserve it. We outside, which is great. But we outside, I'm not keeping my money.
We outside and don't have the money.
Right. I'm going to happy hour every day. Then, of course, at the end of the month, when you say save $500 towards Roth, I don't have it. As opposed to if I actually saw, okay, maybe I only have $100 this week for happy hour. The other $400 is going to my Roth. Because I actually see it in Excel spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. Also, I love organization looking at numbers, so it works.
Yeah. Okay. So what about you? Do you budget? I know the answer to that, but
I do. I
budget.
I actually do. It
mentally or physically?
No, both. It started out late, but I think piggybacking on what you said just now is like I used to go out a lot, and I find myself like in the corner of the party, like, why am I here? What's the reason? I'll be thinking about stuff at home, and then, as you said, like maxing the stuff, I'll be like, man, I didn't have the $500 last month to max it out, but I just paid $60 to get in here. it was like $80 for them 2 drinks. I got to pay a cab fare home. That was actually the money that I could have invested, and I'm actually seeing more returns on the investment than the party, because I'll be leaving the party with a headache.
Work.
And it's just like, it wasn't matching up. So for every week, I cut it down more. So like from going out every week, it was like, every month, or oh, I'm not going out this month, or I start doing other stuff like, let me just go stand and talk with friends instead of trying to go to a party where I'm gonna have to buy clothes, buy a lot of stuff. So yeah, it started late, but I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
And that's the thing too, like I'm older than you guys. I have a lot more responsibilities. I have kids, and a mortgage and all these things. And I remember though being in my 20s, like I remember being your age, but see all my friends, like we really didn't have any, even though I was earning good money, we all lived like we were in college. So we used to do a lot of free stuff and drink really cheap liquor. And so we actually didn't spend that much. And then we were all
like now it's harder. You see on social media, you see so much more.
That part.
So that you feel like people have money when they might not, or people are spending so much, but they may not have the same goals as you.
Yeah, the pressure is different. I feel like when I was in high school, college, even my 20s, it wasn't this much pressure. First of all, Instagram was not this big. There was not as much social media. So, you didn't really see as much what people were doing. And I just feel like it's more pressure for you guys at your ages, like see how other people are living, the vacation. Okay, the world's opening back up, right? So a lot of people are going on vacations now. And I feel like people will be spending more money because they're like, I missed out this past year.
I'm gonna go harder.
Right.
I heard, I saw a tweet. It was like, you spend more preparing for the vacation than on the vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So what I want to talk about now is what are your goals going forward, right? Like, what do you want for yourselves? Like, what's the next step for you? Let's start with you, because we talked about investing like in your Roth, but you also you took this program, which was, you took Glow's program. I know you're in, you're coach now, and then this other coaching or the certificate program.
Yeah, I invested a lot of money this year in personal development in myself, because I did Terry's trade and travel and the VIP program. I did my life coaching certification program, which was 7 to 9 months. So it was a pretty penny. And then I also did Glow's coaching program.
Right.
But the thing with me is that I'm always willing to invest in myself, and I'm not cheap about that because I know that there will be a return. Granted, I'm going to take a break now, and
you got to implement everything.
Right, I can't always try to be in courses and never implement anything. So I feel like my next steps are growing my business. So growing my coaching business and getting one-on-one clients, and then I'm releasing my first ebook this summer, and then eventually moving into group coaching, because I feel like life coaching is so life-changing, and I think if everyone can experience it and raise our consciousness, raise our self-awareness, we will better realize how we show up and choose how we want to show up. And then with that, it's continuing to build my dance and my fitness. So excited that the world is opening back up. I cannot wait to dance. I had my first dance performance a couple weeks ago. I have my second one on Juneteenth, depending on when this comes out. And I still desire to dance and tour the world and be on stages. That's what brings me so much joy. And my fitness company, the Nest NYC, we teach bounce on a trampoline. So it's very exciting. We are reaching California. Eva Longoria bounces. It's very exciting.
Listen, this bounce stuff that she does, I remember she said, come just try it. And she had this routine on her Instagram. I was like, Shane, do you want me to like break up my back? Like, I don't have
everyone says that people do not fall off. So if you go check it out, I feel like everyone should go take a class. Everyone should have a mini trampoline in their house. And then eventually I really want to speak on stages and just have more speaking opportunities and build my business. I'm reading We Should All Be Millionaires right now by Rachel Rodgers.
Get it.
And I'm speaking into existence. I see it by 30. It's going to happen. And I truly believe for all of us, it's just believing that it's possible. Because so many people, if you just believe and you
put that hard work,
make that decision and give yourself permission, you will be able to achieve it. But so much of it comes from our own thoughts and what we're believing about ourselves.
Yeah, I think I think you're so far ahead, Shaina, that the fact that because I found this Journey to Launch happened for me in my early 30s in a way, right?
Yeah, I remember we were both starting blogs.
Right.
I started a blog and you were like, I don't know. I'm like, you should start that blog.
Right. Shaina was the one that she started her blog, and I was like, I should, start my blog. And that's when Journey to Launch kind of came about as the blog. But this was years ago, my early 30s. But I'm just imagining knowing what you know, if I knew what in my 20s.
Right?
25, like, I think you can do it. I think the world is like, I think you're going to have everything you want. You just have to focus and continue to do what you do. You know, I believe in you in that way. So I'm excited, like, to see you, like, blossom and unfold. And even though you will be moving on from Journey to Launch.
And that was, you know, that was a hard decision, but it was a decision that I need to make for myself, because I think we try to juggle it all. And even in the book, it says, as women, we want to make sure everyone is okay. And we often put other people's emotions before our own, especially family. So you being my older sister, I mean, I'll admit, the first time I came to work for you in college, I quit the first day.
Yeah, I remember. So with Journey to Launch, I remember I needed help. She was still in college. And I was like, oh, you have a couple hours? And I, like, literally, like, it was like,
it might have been the same day.
It was the same day. I was like, okay, Shaina, here's what you can do. And she, like, hit me up the same day. She's like, I don't think I could do this. I was like, oh.
So I think I've been carrying that burden on my shoulders since then, and I didn't want to disappoint you. And I had a coach. I think coaches need coaches, and I talked through it with my coach, and I realized that it was time that I made this decision and prioritized what I want. And I realized, I was like, you care about me as well. I had this fear of disappointing you and leaving you high and dry. And when I told you, you were like, okay, just don't do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, just give me some time so I can find more help. And I also knew, I knew that you always wanted to do your own thing. So it's not
we're both visionaries.
Right. Both visionaries in that way. So it's not like I expected you to come work for Journey to Launch and, like, stay forever. I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I am glad that you are choosing to, like, you know, branch out and lean in more. And you didn't let scarcity, because, you know, I'm giving you, like, a steady paycheck.
Right. And that was, because that's going to end, I'm sure.
Of course.
But I think that's also I realized that gives me a little bit more energy to be like, okay, I need to make that back up. Maybe that's even the first step. Because we always think, okay, I want to make $1 million. Well, the first step is just, maybe I just want to make that extra 1,000 again myself.
But this is a really good point. And maybe this, if you applies, like, think about, like, letting go of something that seems sure, but it's not fulfilling. It's not, you know, it's not for you, but it's like that easy, or not easy money, but it's just money, something that you should do because you're afraid to let it go because it's consistent. Right. But who knows what's going to happen once you let it go, right? You can have a lot more money, a lot more fulfillment by doing that. And that's kind of like essentially kind of what you're doing with me.
Right, because it gives you that time. I think it was also that Rachel Rogers podcast episode when she spoke about that, and about you have to make that decision even before you're ready, because it might give you more time, it might give you more freedom, more fulfillment. And even though it's taking away money, what is taken away might give you so much more.
Yeah. And then the people that you are in these situations with, like, so you're working with me, and even if you weren't my sister, like, I just feel like most people, if you're afraid to disappoint, like, if someone's gonna get mad at you for choosing yourself and your development, like,
you don't need to be around.
Right, because that's what you'll need to do for you. Okay. Imani. Now, I feel like, you know, I think you should have your own restaurant, your own food truck, your own, like, sauces in supermarkets, all the things. Also tell you, what do I also say? I say you can, like, have your own, like, cooking show or something, be more on social. But I know that's not necessarily, like, you have a lot of other things you're trying to build first. So talk about not what, like, I'm trying to tell you to do, but what are the things that you want to do right now?
Having a restaurant is definitely in the plan, but it goes back to, like, the controlled cooking environment. I see myself more as I get older. I think at first I wanted that, I think I wanted this, but now I want to travel cooking. Like, I like to travel and I like to cook. So I'm like, why not mix both of them together and do like a travel show? So, like, if I go to Jamaica for a vacation, I'm here on the beach, I'll cook something right here, but still plate it like a 5-star meal to show people that, like, not because it's not a controlled environment, it still could be beautiful and 5-star quality at the same time.
I see that for you.
Yes, I've been thinking about that hard.
And let me tell you something. I know you were, like, a little nervous, like, to be on camera, but you did, and if we could find it, I'm going to, like, link it. You did, like, a video. I remember when you were working at Murray's, you did a video, and someone came and asked you to, I think, just record you talking. Yeah. And you were really good, like, and because you know what? Because you're talking about food.
It has something to do with food.
Right.
When we talk about our passions.
Right. Yes. So I see that for you. I would say this, if I could just give you some advice like that, like, when the next time you are in Jamaica or to just start. The camera doesn't have to be the best, but start putting that on your social media, because I feel like you got to start creating that content, like, now, right? And then grow into it and get better at it as you go.
And I feel like that's really what it is. I've been I've had a problem with like procrastinating, and again, I'm getting out of that a little bit, just by like even watching everybody, like even Shaina, I watch your Instagram stuff and I look at it, I'm like, for like her age, it's really like, I like the whole, just everything. So I take a little page, it don't matter how old I get, I take a page out of your book, just to make my craft a little bit better. But I'm working, like, it's a lot of vision in my head. And then too, with like following up with like, the cooking is my happy place. Like, it's where I let it all go. So I'm like, if I could be here happy and make some money at the same time, I don't see nothing wrong with that. So I'm getting to the point where I think that might be it, the travel cooking. First, it was a food truck, but I think now I'm more leaning into more like travel cooking, like just being different places and cooking different dishes, like,
Yeah, and like I said, the world is opening back up a bit, and they have a bunch. I know Netflix has a couple of like series now, just like on traveling. What's High in the Hog is one. Well, he's not. He's going around to different.
Right.
Who knows? No one. I was like, what's the description? I don't know.
No, it's
But
great. It's
like,
really, it's about linking food to like the African diaspora.
Yeah.
And there's another one too. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, but I just feel like there's more demand for that content now.
Yeah.
And you are like an actual, I always say you're an actual Jamaican, even though I'm Jamaican too, because I was born there, but you actually don't think I am. You know, I am. But you literally like, you really know like the culture and the foods. And then you also can combine different.
And that's what I like too. Like, I feel like for most typical Jamaican chef, I don't know, like somebody seeing me, like they'll be like, oh, she just know how to cook like Jamaican food. I try to like open it up a little more so people could like expect more from like Jamaican chefs. So like, I could give you a nice Italian meal, I could give you a nice Mexican food with you not feeling like, oh, that's a Mexican. No, it's a Jamaican person. It's just like, it's a good way of learning other people's culture and like, respecting it a little bit more. So I think that's the angle that I would like to take for my cooking, like more freelance, open, just very free of heart.
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing. I don't feel that way about cooking food, so it's really great that you.
First of all, I mean, and you need to cook more for me. That's what I'm saying. Like, she'll come over, I'd be like, okay, what are we cooking? And she was like, I'm off. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what are you cooking? Like but no, I think that you also can accomplish all the things. Like, literally, you guys, the world is your oyster. Like, you can accomplish these things. I know that about your skills and just your passion, both of you, about what you're talking about. And so it's really just about executing and believing in yourself.
Putting that work in.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to now just, shoot the breeze before we like end this. A couple questions. What is one thing you would tell a creative or just someone listening who's maybe has this talent or this thing they want to get into? They're afraid about it not really earning a lot of money, or they just don't know how to start. And even when it comes to investing, but they're scared to like take that step. What would you tell that person? What would be your advice for them? Shaina, you can go first.
I think it's really acknowledging your fear. So acknowledge the thoughts that you are having, acknowledge your feelings, and then work through them and reframe it. Because so often I think we try to suppress the fear and pretend like it doesn't exist. So we could be afraid and do it anyway, but you really want to see, where is that coming from? How true is it that it's not possible? Do you actually have a vision? So I love doing visioning exercises with my clients. Just close your eyes and truly imagine, what do you want without any limits, and see what comes to you. Write it down on paper. And if you're not sure, write out your strengths, write out your gifts, and just take one step. I think we try to take too many steps and it feels overwhelming. Take one step towards that goal, and then the next day you put your next foot in front of the other. So just keep taking one little baby step. That would be my advice.
All right. What about you, Imani?
My advice definitely would be, just listen to the people that's actually with you. The people that's not with you, it doesn't matter, because it tend to be a distraction. And trust me, people tend to speak on stuff that they really don't know about, and it will really stop you. Like, and some people might be speaking from their fear, like, oh no, don't do that, because when I did it, it didn't work. That might not be my journey. So it's just more like, don't sit on no talent that you got. And even if you're scared, you just gotta just be like me. What's the worst could happen?
What's the worst
could happen? You have to do you, because at the end of the day, people they gonna talk. whether it's good or bad. So, and when you blow up, they're going to be the same one talking, sending messages in your inbox. Oh, congrats. I know you could do it. So at the end of the day, whatever make you happy and whatever you're comfortable with, just do it.
Right.
That's it. Just do it.
Right. It really has to come from within and not needing the validation from other people.
No.
But it's so true. The energy that surround you influences the energy that flows through you. So really make sure about the people who surround you or people who want to boost you up. Because a lot of it comes from fear. They're talking from their own fears and they didn't make it. So they're nervous about you.
They're nervous about you, and then that will stop you from even trying when your little try could just blow right up.
And think about all the, like, you know, being trailblazers. Like, you know, a lot of times you're not actually, these people are just people in your immediate life that you may love to have not done these things. You're like the first person to have tried and attempt this field and to combine these passions. You the first one maybe that you know that's doing it in the way you do it. Me, like, you know, like, is so you have to trailblaze and kind of be the example for people most times and not worry, like you said, about their fears impacting you.
No, for sure. I feel like a lot of times when we tell our own families, even our grandmother, I try to tell her what we do and she's like, what?
Yeah.
So a lot of times these new careers, the older generations have no idea what they are. They didn't exist for them. And I think our generation, we're able to follow our passions. Whereas the previous generation was all about survival. So realizing that difference and knowing that we are so lucky and blessed to be able to do it. So then do it, you know?
Right. And okay, the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, so you guys are like my real life sisters, so you know me in real life. And then you know me as like Miss Journey to Launch, blah, blah, blah. What is, and we'll get answer from both of you, is like one thing you think people would be surprised to know about how I really am. And it's okay. You can really be honest. You can be honest. I won't get mad.
You got it first.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is really fun. She's not as should I say the word?
What? No, so you could say that.
She's not as uptight as she looks. She is really fun. Like, no, for real, she's fun. You'll have a good time with her.
Oh, thanks, sister. Yeah. What about you? It's okay. You could.
No, that's so true. Jamila is.
Yeah,
really
she's fun.
Even like we're 13 years apart, which is wild.
And I feel like I'm older than both of you, but sometimes I feel like I act like more like not immature.
And
sometimes.
she's a great dancer. Like the ravers, y'all need to check her out.
Right,
she's a great dancer.
Not your type of dance, Shaina. She's talking about
she's talking about the little Jamaican stuff.
Right,
She's a great dancer.
My Jamaican dance moves. Okay, Shaina.
I think something people really don't know. I mean, you're actually super chill about your money. Like you save a lot, but you're not. I feel like maybe it just comes so natural. But I don't feel you as like an uptight budgeter. Like you're actually super chill about your finances. And I think you would think like, you know, you run a finance platform and a lot of people may not know that, but you're actually really chill about it.
It's funny because I was teaching something in the Money Launch Club about budgeting, and then the people in the group, like they were talking about when they see their budget, because I use YNAB and that's the budgeting app, and it will get red if you're not budgeting properly. And I'm like, oh, my stuff is always red because I'm always budgeting ahead. And they were like, oh my, like they were like clutching their pearls because they were like, what? So yes, I'm definitely more just relaxed about, like, I'm not really into the couponing. If I see something that I want in Trader Joe's, it's that meme. When I go to Trader Joe's, I don't really have
you go with vibes.
I go with the vibes. It's kind of like how, and that's how I want to live my life, kind of like in more flow. So thank you for sharing that. Now, tell everyone where they can find you guys. So what I want to is like everyone to cheer you on. So maybe there may be some creatives listening, watching, and they want to follow your journey, want to be inspired by you. Maybe they want to, you know, just get in contact. So where can people find you? Each Instagram, if you have a website, all that.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Shaina.McGregor, SHAINA.MCGREGOR. My website is launching by the end of June. So depending on when this comes out, it might be out. That will be ShainaMcGregor.com. And yeah, Instagram is where I live the most. You can find me dancing, bouncing on a trampoline, and showing up as a life coach. If you're interested in that, you can definitely follow me there.
And you could follow me on Instagram at Yard Chef. What's my Instagram?
I have to look it up. And you have to spell Yard Chef because not everyone
Yard
is from
Chef
the yard.
45. So that's YARD YAAD_45. See, I got a little card too, so if you could
Yes,
zoom
it's
in.
Yard Chef.
YAADCHEF_45.
Right. Now, see me now as like a marketer, I'm like, we need to get you another that easier name, but I don't want to.
No, I feel like the yard is. So I'm more keeping it back to like that
I
open.
like that.
Just
I'm talking
yard.
about, but I want you to remember the your Instagram, because what if someone just asked you?
No, I did. I don't know what happened
All right,
just
all
now.
right,
I don't
all
know what happened. So again, it's Yard Chef _45. YAADCHEF_45.
You know, one thing I thought you just were both going to say, but you didn't, but I'll call myself out, that I do go into big sister mode a bit with you guys. You guys didn't say that, but just like I just said, like next time you got to remember your Instagram. Like I kind of am.
Yeah,
like
you see how that came in? And like this, you saw the text. Don't have time for it now. I said, oh.
Yeah, Jamila's very blunt and abrasive. Okay.
That's okay. But that, I was surprised that neither one of you said that just now when I asked you to share something, because I do feel like, because you are like family and you guys know me, so you typically know I'm always coming from a good place, that I typically give it to you more real than I give most other people. Like I will just tell you like.
Great.
But I feel like when people look at you, that's like something that says you look like somebody that just tell it as it is. So.
Right. But I think people kind of assume I'm super like nice, and I am. I'm nice, but I do have a short patience level. But I'm really glad. So here's the thing. I am so proud of the both of you. I can't wait to see what the both of you do. Thank you for doing this with me. I know I just was like, just come do a video and just do a podcast interview. This is the first time I've done this.
But it calmed down.
No, you got
No, you did. You came right into it.
But I love this. I love that I'm able to share like this with you, that I can watch you guys like grow, and maybe we can do like a follow-up in a couple years, or even before that when you hit some milestones.
We're about to end of 2021.
We're gonna be celebrating when Shaina turned a millionaire at 29.
I know. Where are you taking us?
Wherever y'all want to go.
Okay.
Remember, she said that, y'all.
You're right.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. It was different, but follow us on at Journey to Launch, at Shaina.McGregor, and at Yard Chef _45. Yard has 2 A's, right?
Like Jamaican yard.
Yeah. And tag us. So if you like this interview, if you got something from it, I always say like, take a screenshot, share your takeaway, tag us, let me know so we can reshare it, and I can know that you were tuning in. All right.